If you have any questions, feel free to just kind of like blurt it out. So we're starting on the book at page 1. Page 1. Like I said, real estate is big business. There are many different people that are involved in this transaction, and the word for the transaction that you guys need to know is conveyance. When they talk about the conveyance of property, that's the transfer of real estate. There are many different people that are involved in this conveyance. On page 2 are a list of some of the people. Most notably, the first person is a broker. What's a broker? A broker is a person that brings together buyers and sellers. That's it. All right? Pawnbrokers, drug brokers, mortgage brokers, real estate brokers. We are all the same kind of activity. It's just what's the product? For us, it's houses. For mortgage, it's money. For drugs, it's pharmaceuticals, and I mean the legal kind. All right? So a broker brings together buyers and buyers and sellers. In our world, they used to have 2 licenses. There used to be a broker's license and a salesperson's license. Now in Indiana in 2014, they changed that, so you are all brokers. Once you get your license will be the same license I currently hold. There is no difference between your broker license and my broker license. The only difference is my 19 years of experience. But other than that, the license is the same. So sometimes in the book, you will see the word broker and salesperson. Salesperson used to be our entry level. Florida still uses salespersons, all right? And it's a salesperson. It's not a salesman. It's not a saleswoman. It's a salesperson's license. Some states still use the 2 levels. So you got to watch out for this. This book is written for the entire United States. I'll try and guide you as we go through that it typically means, for you guys, it's all going to be the same word. Salesperson and broker means broker for us, okay? Anybody that has a license is called a licensee. So when I talk about you guys in general, I will say the licensees. All right, one of the most important concepts that people have trouble with: can a broker, real estate broker, get paid if a deal doesn't close? You guys are all too young to remember Columbo. You guys remember the TV series Columbo? 3 of us. Columbo used to ask questions at the very end. He'd go, oh yeah, one more question. He always knew the answer. He just wanted to hear that person say it, okay? So these are Columbo questions. I know the answer. I just want to hear you guys say it. Can a broker get paid without a deal closing? Depends. Well, we covered it all. No, yes, depends. We most certainly can. Notice in that definition of brokers where I said brings buyers and sellers together, nowhere did I say, and the deal must close. That's not our gig. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're already thinking I'm wrong and crazy out of the gate. No, let me explain. If a person, and you bring a buyer and a seller together, and they form a purchase agreement, it's called forming a contract, all right? And then the buyer wakes up the day of closing and goes, you know, I don't like purple. I'm not buying the house. Bing, bing, bing. I don't care. I'm getting paid. Because that's not a legitimate reason. Now, if they can't get a loan, then truly you did not bring a buyer to the table. You brought what we call a wannabe. And you're going to find there are 4 types of buyers in the world. There's experienced buyers, first-time home buyers, wannabes, and thieves. There's a thief buyer. I had a guy once says, I don't care what it's listed at, I'm going to go 20 grand below list price. Okay. He managed to get exactly 0 homes in all his offers. But they're out there, okay? A buyer, you should realize these words go with a buyer. Ready, willing, and able. A person who decides they do not like purple one day does not qualify as getting out of the deal. Hey, go ahead, don't buy. I'm still getting paid. I've been paid about 12 times in my career on deals that didn't close. On one of them, it was my own client sitting at the closing table. He was buying like 22 condos at Wildcat Run. And my client literally said, you know, I did the math wrong. This is on me. I forgot to add in the monthly condo association on all these properties. When I do this, this deal doesn't make sense to me anymore. And he turned to Greg Gunstra from Gunstra Builders, who was selling them. He said, hey, you keep my $10,000 earnest money. And he looked at me and said, what would you have got paid? I'm like, hey, Dale, I'd have made about $9,000. He's like, you take $7,500 right now? I said, sure. He wrote a personal check to me for $7,500 and handed it to me, locked his briefcase, got up and said, have a good day, guys, and walked out of the closing. He would have lost in the long run. He would have lost more than $17,000 in the long run. He was upside down once you figure those in. So you can get paid. We earn our commission the day the deal gets formed. We get paid on closing day, and you're going to find it's called settlement date, because that's where we settle up. But I earned it way back here. All right? I earned it the day the buyer and seller agree to close the house. I'm out of the deal. And if you don't believe me, I've got future law. I'll cite laws down the road that'll prove it, and we'll talk about it. The second they get formed, I earn my commission. All right, the second person I want to talk about, and this is the person who you will least have the least interaction with, is the appraiser. The appraiser is the person that you will have the least interaction with. About the most interaction you will have is when they call you up and go, hey, I need to get in your house to appraise it. What's the code? Other than that, that's it. All right? You don't talk to them. They don't hang out with you. You don't hire them, any of that. Matter of fact, who does the appraiser work for? They work for the bank, the lender. All right? They don't work for the buyer. They work for the lender. They are there to protect the lender, to make sure that the asset that the buyer is going to collateralize for the loan is worth the amount of money. And we'll talk more. We got a whole chapter on appraisals. All right? But that's the one you will have the least interaction with. The reason why is they don't want you to influence, you know. Hey, there's a pair of Colts tickets in this if the house appraises. Don't laugh. That kind of stuff was happening. So they came in and changed all of that. The next person's a property manager. In Indiana, property management is a licensed required activity. You have to have a license to manage property. Now, on the bright side, Indiana works under what's called a unified license. The license allows us to buy, sell, trade, lease, exchange, manage, rent, consult, and refer real estate. One of them in there was manage. So the license you are getting, you can manage property, all right? Some states are different. Nevada, for example. Nevada, you got to be a broker, and then you have to get an add-on to your broker's license to get a property manager's license to manage property. Here, the second day you graduate and pass the exam and you're given your broker's license, same license, you can go manage property in Indiana. All right? So you will have interaction with those managing, those people. The difference with property management, it confers this thing that we call general agency. We'll talk a little bit more about it. General agency, which means you get to do a whole bunch of stuff for a person. General agency. Financing. Financing is a licensed required activity. If you loan someone else's money, you have to have what's called an MLO license, Mortgage Loan Originator's License. If you go into a bank and bank one says, hey, you want a house loan, and you sit with the guy and he takes the application, that guy's got an MLO license. They originate loans, all right? You guys will deal a lot with these people because they have what they call mortgage brokers. So I want to clarify two terms to make sure we understand. There is a difference between this word, a lender, and a mortgage broker. A mortgage broker, just like it sounds, is exactly the same thing that a real estate broker is, only they broker money. The buyer of the money is the one who ultimately wants it. The seller of the money is who? The lender. That's the difference. The lender is the person who actually puts their money in their hands, puts their money in, one of those, puts their hand in their pocket and pulls the money out. That's the lender. Okay? There's a mortgage company out there called Five Stones Mortgage. They are a brokerage. They broker loans. They will go to many different lenders to get the money. Think of the advantage to that. Let's back up for just a second. Can a buyer of real estate go directly to the seller of real estate and do a deal without us? Yeah. They got for sale by owners and things like that. Can a person walk directly into Bank One and get a loan? Yes. But here's the problem with that scenario. Buyer walks up to a seller's door, knocks on the door and says, hey, I want to buy your home, and the seller says, I don't want to sell. He's got to walk to another house. So he walks next door. Hey. Or he could hire me. Let me search the MLS for all the sellers that match everything he wants, show him 3 houses, and we buy it because those are the exact 3 houses. See the advantage to a broker? He tells me what he wants one time. He goes back to work. I do all the work for him and say, here's your choices. Mortgage brokers are the exact same concept. Instead of the guy that needs money going to Bank One and then Chase and PNC and Fifth Third, he can go to a mortgage broker like Five Stones Mortgage, tell Colin what he wants. Colin then goes out and finds all these different lenders and goes, here's three options, which one do you want to take? Saves the guy time and effort. So it works exactly the same as a real estate broker, the mortgage broker does. Only the difference is he's just finding money instead of the houses. All right?